Welcome back. It is Sunday, August 10th, 2025. You're watching the One More Round live chat. I'm your host, Gaff. I do this shit every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday, giving you guys CP units, fantasy fight series, PFL and one championship watch along, Sunday live chats, wrapping up the weekends. MMA parlays and boxing parlays, tips, tricks, parlays, and all that shit. That's right. It's one more round fights, baby. If you don't already know, we're on the road to 550. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Okay? Don't be weird about it. Go ahead and just do it. Like Nike said. Scan the QR codes below. Left side for the main card minute. Right side for one more round fights. Yeah. We made you some money this week. I hope you made some money this week. You better have made some money this week. Don't forget to follow on social because that's where we put out the parlays and shit. I don't like the way that looked behind me. One more round fights except for X, where it's one more round F8. Fuck you, Elon. And don't forget to send some shit into one more round fights at gmail.com. I want to see what you got. You got some merch? You got some stickers? Shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Use promo code one more round for 10% off. That is promo code one more round for 10% off. We had a lot of shit happen this weekend. We did. Cosmo Kramer in the house. We ready. Sleeto says, yo, what up? Also, why can't I send super chats in here? Something you got to turn on from your end? Yeah, we're not monetized yet. We still need to get them watch hours up. I need to do some PFL watch alongs. I unfortunately missed the Africa one this weekend. It's all good. It is what it is. Shit happens. But yeah, we're not there yet. But if we got the subs up to like 550, maybe the watch hours went up off more subs, we'd be in business. So it is what it is. But we're on the way. So stick with us. Hopefully we can get monetized soon. Just, get some burner accounts, start just watching stuff randomly. Keep it open. Just stream one more round fights playlists for me. Maybe we'll get those watch hours up and maybe we'll get it soon, But it is what it is. Let's talk about all the shit that happened this past week. We got a lot of shit, don't we? MMA updates, bitch. That's what we like to start the show with. But let's get into it, shall we? First, we have a couple fight announcements. Some fights happening on some cards coming up. October cards, September cards. Let's talk about it. Austin Vanderford and Ramiz Brahimaj. Brahimaj, New York native. Shout out to Ramiz Brahimaj. Austin Vanderford, otherwise known as Mr. Van Zant. That fight is set for October 4th. The undercard of Ankalaev and Pereira 2. Okay, so that's a nice fight at welterweight. We'll see what happens with that matchup. There's also a matchup for Chito Vera on the table. He will be taking on Ayman Zahabi at the upcoming UFC Vancouver show scheduled for October 18th. So we're going to get to see Chito Vera back in the old saddle with the cowboy hat on, ready to get back on it. We'll see what happens if Chito gets back on the horse and gets the job done, or if Ayman Zahabi is one of those prospects that we should look out for and see if he's going to be one of those guys that takes over at 35. Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev, I should say, was announced for UFC Rio as a main event. A lot of people polarized about this, saying that Charles Oliveira is coming back too soon. Rafael Fiziev is a hammer. And I do agree with that sentiment, but we also have to keep note that Rafael Fiziev's takedown defense has never been that great. He's also a little bit undersized for 55, and Charles Oliveira is pretty much a big 55er. He's going to backpack him, and it's going to look a lot like Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler to me. But Rafael Fiziev is a very, very, very dangerous opponent. We've seen what he just did in Azerbaijan. He could put it on anybody. So that's a great matchup. I like what the matchmakers were doing. Is it too soon? We're about to find out. In other news, UFC, I guess, veteran and new signee for the Octagon promotion, Martin Budai, has flown the coop and found a new home. He's now at the Octagon promotion. He will be fighting in the Octagon, so we'll see what he does over there. He should be a face of the promotion at this point because he doesn't have a lot of losses on his record, and he has a lot of wins in the UFC. So a lot of people are going to want his head on their stake. Also, UFC 319 is this weekend. Yeah. Dricus du Plessis, Khamzat Chimaev. It's going to be fantastic at middleweight. We should also know that Joe Rogan is making a comeback to this card, so he will be making the call for this card. And Dustin Poirier will be joining the broadcast. He will be doing some desk work, and they'll be asking him certain ins and outs throughout the night. So shout out to Dustin Poirier getting his first gig after retiring from fighting Max Holloway in the BMF fight and losing. But he's going to get a big win here and see what he can do behind the desk, and can't wait to see what he does. And last but not least, Dana White Contender Series is back this week, Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Me and Luke will be doing a stream on the main card minute. So again, please do not forget to scan the QR codes below and become a fan of both channels, the main card minute and One More Round Fights. We're streaming. We're going to be watching along with you. If there's bets to be made, we're going to be taking them with you. Okay? Let's make some money. Let's have some fun. Let's watch some fights. Main card minute, One More Round Fights. All right. And that's it for the MMA updates. Okay. So without further ado, let's get the fuck into it, shall we? Huh? Anthony Fluffy Hernandez submits Roman Dolidze in round 4. The man looked like an absolute world beater. He was a beast in there. Overwhelming Roman Dolidze from the very first bell, putting big strikes on him, eating his best strikes and taunting him, landing with big inside strikes, elbows, knees, uppercuts, hooks. Anthony Hernandez wrestled him down to the ground multiple times, threw multiple submission attempts on him, almost finished him at the end of round 2, but it was the end of the round, and Herb Dean got it in between them like it was a finish, but it was just to end the round to stop further punishment. Anthony Hernandez took it as a win, starts celebrating. Roman Dolidze starts looking upset, and then Herb Dean's like, why is everyone looking upset? That was the end of the round. Everybody looks confused, but then we start round 3, and Anthony Hernandez puts the exact same beating that he was putting on Roman Dolidze in round 1 and 2. It was something to see, landing big knees as Roman Dolidze was turtled on his front. Roman Dolidze could do nothing but shell up, play guard, and survive until the end of the round. And finally, in round 4, Anthony Hernandez ate a couple shots, got pissed off, figured, you know what? I'm done with this shit. Yanked his neck up, dragged him towards the center of the octagon as he's tapping, and then let him go in a disrespectful fashion. But he didn't mean to be disrespectful in the way. It's just his style of fight. He's a badass. And that's why his Twitter handle is badass motherfucker. Anthony Hernandez pulls off a badass submission, rear naked choking Roman Dolidze, round 4, 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and solidifying his standing as one of the best middleweights right now in the UFC. Roman Dolidze is a solid middleweight that has even fought at 205 pounds in the UFC. And Anthony Hernandez made him look like he didn't even belong in there with him. Roman Dolidze has fought Kevin Holland, Marvin Vettori, Jack Hermanson, Kyle Dawkins, Anthony Smith, Nasruddin Imavov. All of these guys, very top and talent at middleweight and welterweight. And he hasn't been finished by any of them until Anthony Hernandez showed up. Anthony Hernandez is a problem at middleweight. And he's currently sitting at number 10. He just took out the number 9 middleweight. Number 8 fights this coming week on the very same card as the champ that will be defending against Khamzat Chimaev. Caio Borralho and Nasruddin Imavov aren't fighting until a month from now, September 7th. Israel doesn't have a fight booked. Renner just fought. Sean Strickland doesn't have a fight booked unless he just got one booked. So you know what the UFC said? They said, Anthony Hernandez, we're going to fly you out to UFC Chicago. Supposedly. Anthony Hernandez is going to be front row for this middleweight fight. And you know what that means in terms of the UFC. When the UFC flies a fighter out and puts them front row for a fight, it means they're either next in line for that title or they have a title eliminator waiting for them next. Possibly even an interim title shot next. But it means big things. If they actually said that to Anthony Hernandez, that means they view this kid as one of the top talent in the UFC and they really want to push him. Okay? And keep this in mind that Anthony Hernandez has now won 8 fights in a row, submitting Rodolfo Vieira, decisioning Josh Fremd, submitting Marc-Andre Barrio, who looked fantastic last week, TKOing Edmund Shabazian, who's been recently coming on, submitting Roman Kopylov, TKOing Michel Pereira, unanimous decisioning Brendan Allen, and now submitting Roman Dolidze in round 4, August 9th of this 2025. This is his second win in 2025. He's been averaging about 2 wins per year in the UFC to get to here. And I can't wait to see what the UFC does with him next, what they're going to match him up with. Now, if it were me, I'm making a pretty badass fight between Sean Strickland and Anthony Hernandez, or Rene de Ritter and Anthony Hernandez. But this man has an opportunity to step in at a time where a lot of the top contenders haven't done enough to get a title shot, or they're all booked currently. So Anthony Hernandez, with his 8-fight win streak, has an opportunity to step in there and fight for the title possibly. And I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him face either guy. His grappling's elite. His pace can match Dricus du Plessis. How would his grappling do against Khamzat Chimaev? We've seen Anthony Hernandez finished both TKO'd and submitted. So it's an interesting style matchup either way. I'd love to see what Anthony Hernandez does. It's going to be so much fun. And for Roman Dolidze, fortunately, he's fought a few of these guys, and he doesn't deserve to fight any of these guys above him right now. So I think there's a mutual opponent between two guys, and that was Brendan Allen. I think Roman Dolidze, Brendan Allen will be a solid fight. I think Roman Dolidze, Paulo Costa would be a solid fight. Either of those matchups work. That's a good stepping stone fight for Dolidze or Costa. And Brendan Allen, he's gotten back on the horse from beating Vettori. Let's see if he could pass another test in Roman Dolidze. So big things on the horizon for Anthony Hernandez. The kid's good. He's got a style that pleases the audience. People saying he's got a little Diaz in him. People saying he's got a little Cain Velasquez in him. People saying he's got a little BJ Penn in him. He's got a little everybody in him, man. That's the modern MMA guy. He's a modern MMA fighter. He's gotten bits and pieces from all these guys over the years that have done so much in the UFC. And he's created a fantastic style for himself that's conducive to him winning fights. So shout out to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. He is a badass motherfucker, and I can't wait to see if he's front row at Chicago and what happens in his next fight, because there's nothing but brightness in his future. So shout out to Fluffy. UFC Vegas 109. There was a lot of fights on this card that were interesting. Let's talk about it top to bottom, shall we? We already talked about Hernandez and Dolidze. Steve Erceg defeats Ode Osborne via unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. Ode Osborne almost finished him. Ode lands a big strike in round one. Hurts Erceg. Erceg has to play guard. Almost gets finished. Ode Osborne has a lot of momentum. Again, this fight was at 35, not 25, because it was short notice. Osborne stepping in on short notice because Erceg had a different opponent that had to get pulled out of his fight. So interesting matchup for both. But Osborne showing that he's an exciting fighter early, nearly putting the fight away, but Erceg showing he's got a lot of grit, staying in the fight, putting Ode Osborne on his butt, controlling him, landing the better strikes on the feet, and taking over in rounds 2 and 3. Steve Erceg won the fight. So glad to see Ode Osborne show some fight. You know the bosses are going to like that, because stepping in on short notice and putting on a performance like that, nearly getting the win, you got to enjoy that. I don't think there's any scenario where Ode Osborne loses his job, especially with a notoriously thin flyweight division. So I expect him to get a couple more opportunities, if not a few. And Steve Erceg as well. I mean, Erceg was on a losing streak as well, and he finally got a win. So shout out to both guys. It was a great fight. Asma Lucindo defeats Angela Overkill Hill, unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. Angie was finally looking old. We had a lot of faith in her. Usually she pulls through, pushes her opponent back, lands the better strikes, has more volume. But this time, the younger fighter got it done. She's 23 years of age. That's a lot of youth, a lot of energy. And she used it to her advantage against Angela Hill. Angela Hill never really got going. Lucindo, solid prospect at strawweight, gets the job done. Uses her grappling, uses her overwhelming pace and speed, and beats up Angela Hill. Andre Feely turns back the young Christian Rodriguez with a split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 30-27. Make no mistake about it, this should have been a unanimous decision for Andre Feely. Andre Feely looked fucking fantastic. Styling on him on the feet, landing in the pocket. I mean, big kicks, big strikes, punishing him to the body. Andre Feely did everything he did and won this fight in classic Andre Feely style. Scrapping, getting the job done, hurting his opponent, almost putting away Christian Rodriguez himself. Hurt him a couple times in this fight. Andre Feely looked classic. He looked great, and I was glad to see him get a big win because he deserved it. Coming through as a big plus 200 dog as well. So shout out to Andre Feely. G Matsumoto defeats Miles Johns via split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. This was a close fight. Some people think Miles Johns got the fight. I thought Matsumoto did enough to win the fight. He did lose round 1, but then he came through in round 2 and 3, and I think he did enough to win the fight, landing more damaging strikes. Even though Miles Johns was on the back, he wasn't doing anything with it, so I had to give it to Matsumoto. Christian Leroy Duncan defeats Eric Anders via TKO punches, round 1, 3 minutes and 53 seconds. I mean, Eric Anders had a big cut over the eye, which basically caused the end of the fight. He ended up eating a bunch of strikes from Christian Leroy Duncan, starting off with a big elbow as they were both entering. And Christian Leroy Duncan finally gets a big win in the UFC. Also, Julius Walker defeats Rafael Sequeira via unanimous decision 30-26, 30-27, 30-27. Julius Walker nearly getting finished in the third round, winning rounds 1 and 2, wrestling Rafael Sequeira very well, controlling him, tiring him out. But then round 3, looking a little gassed himself, not putting his foot on the gas as much, eats a big strike, wobbly, stanky legs, chicken dance. He's doing all types of dances, nearly gets finished. But he ends up winning the fight, unanimous decision, 30-26, 30-27, 30-27. Elijah Smith defeats Toshiomi Kazama via knockout, slam, round 1, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. If you haven't seen Rampage Jackson slam someone in Pride, go watch that before you watch Elijah Smith, and then tell me the similarities between it, because there are too many to count. Elijah Smith picks up his opponent, slams him directly on the back of his head, his neck, his back, and puts him out immediately. Elijah Smith was one of the knockout of the year candidates, and it wasn't even from a strike. Beautiful to see. Jocelyn Edwards defeats Priscilla Cachoeira via knockout punches, round 1, 2 minutes and 24 seconds. The ladies had some power in this one. Priscilla Cachoeira, usually known for being the girl with the power in her hands and being able to knock people out, but this time being on the other side of the sword, getting dealt with by Jocelyn Edwards. I think there was a little bit of bad blood in this fight, and it was conducive to Jocelyn Edwards getting a big TKO win in round 1. So shout out to her, one of the biggest wins of her career. Uros Medic also gets a TKO win over Gilbert Urbina via knockout punch, round 1, 1 minute and 3 seconds into the fight. Uros Medic was eating shots from Gilbert Urbina, even getting dropped very early in round 1, gets back to his feet, bites down on his mouthpiece, lands a combination on Gilbert Urbina, puts him out, lands one more strike as he's on his back just to make it definitive, and Uros Medic continues getting finishes in the UFC. The guy's a killer. The money's always on Medic, man. The opponents need a Medic after facing off with Uros Medic. Okay. Gabriela Hernandez defeats Julia Stoliarenko via unanimous decision 30-27, 29-28, 29-28 in a very forgettable fight. And Eric McConaughey defeats Cody Brundage via split decision in a very close fight. I feel for Cody Brundage because I felt like he did enough to win this fight. But Eric McConaughey goes ahead and gets the win. It was a 29-28, 27-30, 29-28 decision. The judges were a little funky. I'm going to chalk it up to being the first fight of the night, a little rusty getting started. So it is what it is. McConaughey did fight a very good fight. So no knock on him. I mean, he was putting it on Cody Brundage. He was trying to land more. Cody Brundage using a lot of his wrestling to get dominance in the fight. But Eric McConaughey did enough to get the win and finally gets a win in the UFC. If you're wondering who got $50,000 bonuses this night, it was Anthony Hernandez, Christian Leroy Duncan, Elijah Smith, and Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards with the TKO of Priscilla Cachoeira in round 1. Elijah Smith with the slam KO of Toshiomi Kazama in round 1 as well. Christian Leroy Duncan with the knockout of Eric Anders in round 1. And Anthony Hernandez with the sub in round 4 of Roman Dolidze in the main event. And that was it for UFC Vegas 109. There was also some other MMA that happened. PFL Africa 2, PFL Johannesburg happened. Okay? And there were some finishes on this card. I was not able to watch it live and stream with you guys. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for that, but it is what it is. But PFL was popping off again. PFL on their smaller promotions, they have a lot of great fighters on this, fighters that produce finishes, and it's fun to see, man, from top to bottom. Unfortunately, the main event did not have a finish, but the right guy won. Patrick Ochem won. He defeats Muhammad Kamaru via unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. This was a featherweight tournament first round bout. He gets the win. Shout out to him. Also in the co-main event, Chito Boris Esperanza defeats Ibrahim Amane via submission, rear naked choke, round 1, 34 seconds, a very quick one. Okay, go back and watch that. It's not going to take you long. This was also a first round welterweight tournament fight. Okay. So yeah, he jumps on him real quick, gets the sub, gets the quick submission. It was honestly very surprising. I thought we were gonna get a decision out of that fight, and that is not what we got. He made it easy on us. The right guy won. The odds favored Shido, so why make us wait around? Also, another quick finish. Octave Allende defeats British Boliang by TKO retirement, round 1, 1 minute and 55 seconds. This was a first round welterweight bout. And I actually was fading Octave. I had him in a parlay, but I just wasn't sure about him. And I was so happy to see him get the win. So that was a great finish. Yadna Chala defeats Sanan Sadek via unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. This was also a welterweight tournament first rounder. And then Emilios Dasi defeats Osvaldo Benedito by KO punches, round 1, 2 minutes and 12 seconds, also a welterweight tournament first rounder. Dasi, like I said, I believe he's an Ngannou-sponsored fighter. I thought he was going to get the KO. I thought he would do it really early in round 1, and that's exactly what he did. Very nice knockout, getting it done with punches. He showed off his power, his speed, his octagon IQ. His cage IQ. And yeah, Emilios Dasi gets the big win. Wazi Adesina defeats Jean-Jacques Lubaya by submission, rear naked choke, round 2, 3 minutes and 14 seconds in the featherweight fight. Unfortunately, Lubaya didn't get the win. Succumbs to the submission, gives up his back, gets the rear naked choke. It is what it is. Dwight Joseph with a very beautiful knockout, taking out Wilker Nsamo by KO, flying knee. Round 2, 4 minutes and 57 seconds. Featherweight tournament first rounder. Please go check that knockout out. Please go check that knockout out. If you haven't already, it's a beautiful thing to see. And Abdurrahman Iraqi defeats Albert Stein via TKO, knee to the body. I felt for the guy because this was the South African. This was the guy everyone was rooting for, Albert Stein. He was submission guy out of South Africa. He had the crowd behind him, but his striking just wasn't there. He ate a big knee to the body and then succumbed to the strikes. It was over from there. Albert Stein, in a catchweight bout, gets finished. Abdul Razak Sankara defeats Shadrach Yemba by KO, head kick, round 1, 2 minutes and 1 second at featherweight. Please go watch that as well. Another great knockout. Yemba eating canvas. It was a tough one. It was a tough one to watch. Yeah, go back and watch that one. And then the first fight of the night, Kunle Lawal defeats Desmond Tumangang via unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. Unfortunately, this wasn't great for Tumangang. Tumangang, also an Ngannou-sponsored fighter. I thought he was going to end up getting the KO. That's not what happened. He ends up losing a decision, ends up gassing out a little bit. And this was a welterweight tournament alternate bout. So this was like a chance to get into the tournament, and he still fumbled the bag. So, yeah, unfortunately, 1 for 2 on the Ngannou-sponsored fighters. But it is what it is. PFL Johannesburg was a success. Lots of TKOs, lots of finishes. It was fun. It was fun to see, and lots of good young fighters on the card. Slito says that over 3.5 sub changed my whole night, laughing my ass off. Yeah, shout out to Luke with the mystery bet. Shout out to the chat. Why do I keep saying Luke? Shout out to Luke for inventing the mystery bet, but shout out to the chat for making the right decisions and choosing the right outcomes for us to hit another mystery bet. We're on a mystery bet streak right now. It's crazy. Got to take them. Got to take them. If you haven't been taking the mystery bets, now you're a little late to be hopping on the train. But those on the train right now, we're feeling good. John Ray says McConnell versus Gore, last chance type of fight for Trayshawn. That's a great matchup. I like that matchup for both guys. McConnell's got hands. Trayshawn Gore's got hands. They both got submissions and takedown defense. This would be a fun fight. They both put it on the line. So, yeah, McConnell, Gore. I'm into that. And John Ray also says PFL Africa was fun. I'm never going to hate on some morning MMA on Saturday, right? And PFL is good. They know not to interfere. They know not to fucking double book. not to go at the same time as UFC. So it's great. They're like, all right, you're going later that day. We're going to go early that day. We're going to catch all the starved MMA fans. So I have a soft spot in my heart for the PFL. I love them. I love them. Even though they piss me off sometimes and lose me money with some weird ass decisions. God, I love the PFL. Thank you for being my number 2 in MMA. Because one championship, not doing these prime cards enough anymore, man. They do Friday night fights all the time, but for the US, for the US fans of one championship, there's not a lot of one on prime anymore. Like, what's happening? I think we got one coming up next month, but it ain't shit over here. We've been starving. Give us some shit. One championship, man. At one point, I thought you were going to be the second. I thought you were going to be the number 2. Right now, PFL is the clear number 2. Clear number 2. No question. Who the fuck else? All right. Who the fuck else? And that does it for MMA. No fighter spotlight this week. I didn't want to do Lucindo. I didn't see Christian Leroy Duncan getting it. It didn't make sense this week for me to do the fighter spotlight. So no fighter spotlight this week, unfortunately. If you were looking forward to it, I'm sorry. But we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. Sorry. What else here? Oh, we had some boxing. Albert Ramirez and Jerome Pampellone. They had a fight. Okay. In the main event, Southpaw. Albert Ramirez, 22-0, 19 KOs. Stopped Jerome the Panther Pampellone, 19-3 with 12 KOs. 1 minute, 15 seconds of the 7th round, scheduled for 12 rounds. This was Friday in Benghazi, Libya. All right. Now, keep in mind that in the 5th round, Ramirez dropped Pampellone, and in the 7th round, Ramirez dropped Pampellone twice. Okay, so he was putting it on him before the final stoppage. Okay, the ref gave him every chance he could. He was like, "Bro, I gotta call this shit." I mean, you get knocked down every chance he touches you. So yeah, the referee James Guzman had to call a halt to the bout, and yeah, it is what it is. Albert Ramirez stops Pampellone, and he is the light heavyweight champ. In the co-main featherweight, Mirko Cuello, 16-0, 13 KOs, stopped Sergio El Chacalillos, 19-1 now, 7 KOs in the second round of a scheduled 12. In the first round, Cuello dropped Rios. In the second round, Cuello dropped Rios twice. He dropped him twice, 3 times in 2 rounds. He forced referee Roberto Ramirez Jr. to call a halt to the bout. I mean, at that point, it's like, damn, you're getting pieced up this early. You got to end it. You got to end it. He had a few too many punches, kept leaving himself open, got dropped a couple times, and the referee has to call it. So it is what it is. In a lightweight bout, Francisco Fonseca, 37-4-2, defeats Sofian Umiha, 6-1. This was a 10-round bout. And in the 3rd round, Fonseca dropped Umiha. The scorecards were 97-92, 95-94, 95-94. And it is what it is. It was pretty clear. I'm not sure what the 95-94 cards were. It was a clear decision for me. But I felt like, 96-93 would have been a perfect score for that bout. As at a cruiserweight bout, Mike Perez and Christian Fabian Lewis ended in a no contest. In the 4th round, Perez landed an illegal, unintentional blow, dropping Luis after the bell. Luis couldn't continue, causing the referee to rule it a no contest. So that's what happened in that bout. And then at super featherweight, Josue Francisco Aguero, 14-0, defeated Diego Flaco Ortiz Aleman, 20-4, with 14 KOs by 10-round unanimous decision. The scorecards were 100-90 across the board. It was a clean sweep. Yeah, it is what it is. And that was it. That was it for that boxing card. If you were watching boxing this week, I think it was on DAZN. But I don't think anybody actually watched it on DAZN, if you know what I mean. One championship isn't even the number 3. BKFC is realistically number 3. But if you just go on MMA, it's probably KSW. damn. I mean, there was a time when one championship was making real strides, and then I feel like right after Mighty Mouse retired, they really shit the bed there. They have no more stars. Sage Northcutt didn't pan out. Angela Lee is kind of done. Her brother Christian Lee, well, he's probably the only thing still kicking around there. It's tough, man. They don't have a lot of stars, especially U.S. stars, so they really have no reason to be. I mean, Gary Tonin isn't really panning out. He's a great fighter over there. He's doing what he does, but I'm sure they had title aspirations for him. The Funky Deal. There's a lot of things that happen. John Lineker isn't, consistent. It's tough for one championship. It's tough. It's tough over there. It's tough. Other boxing notables, baby. Baby. This is the schedule coming up. Now, this week in California on UFC Fight Pass, there's a title fight between Mizuki Hiruta and Naomy Cardenas Gomez. 12 rounds for Hiruta's WBO Women's Junior Bantamweight title. I'll have picks for you shortly. Omar Trinidad taking on Lorenzo Parra, 10 rounds at featherweight. Yes, Lorenzo Parra, the old school boxer. Lorenzo Parra, 46 years old. Lorenzo Parra, yes. Lupito Medina is taking on Ruby Gutierrez, 8 rounds at atomweight. Yes, I said atomweight. Bet the decision in that one as well. August 16th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The next day on DAZN, there's a title fight between Nick Ball and Sam Goodman. 12 rounds for Ball's WBA featherweight title. Anthony Kakachi taking on Raymond Ford, 12 rounds at junior lightweight. Moses Atoma taking on Dillian White, 12 rounds at heavyweight. Also at heavyweight, David Adele taking on Felipe Rovich, 12 rounds. And then Hayatu Sutumi take on Kaiser Schwag, 6 rounds at junior lightweight. I got picks for you there as well. And then August 23rd, Orlando, Florida, on DAZN. Yoeni Tella is taking on Abbas Barao. 12 rounds at junior middleweight. A title fight between Stephanie Hahn and Paulina Angel. 10 rounds for Hahn's WBA women's lightweight title. Yankiel Rivera Figueroa taking on Angelino Cordova. 12 rounds at flyweight. Jermaine Ortiz taking on Steve Claggett. 10 rounds at junior welterweight. And another title fight between Jasmine Artiga and Lynn Sandstrom. 10 rounds for Artiga's WBA women's junior bantamweight title. September 13th in Las Vegas on Netflix, we have a title fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. 12 rounds for Alvarez's undisputed super middleweight championship. You already know I'm with Crawford on that one. And then don't forget, November 22nd, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, title fight between David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde. 12 rounds for Benavidez's WBC light heavyweight title. Also, Jesse Bam Rodriguez taking on Fernando Daniel Martinez. 12 rounds for Rodriguez's WBC junior bantamweight title and Martinez's WBA junior bantamweight title. A title fight between Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes. 12 rounds for the vacant WBO lightweight title. And a title fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney. 12 rounds for Norman's WBO welterweight title. And that does it for the boxing portion of the show. Solito says, I watch every one card, but almost always skip the MMA unless I'm watching live. There's never a boring Muay Thai fight, though. Yeah, I mean, their MMA talent isn't that great anymore either. Their pool is kind of small. It's the same people over and over again. It's Shinya Aoki. It's Edward Foliang. It's, Timothy Nasiukin. It's the same fucking guys every time they march them out for it. So that's the problem over there. They need to sign new talent, and they need to really get us excited. They need to sign a lot of these guys that the GFL was going to sign. You'd be like, fuck it, we're taking their guys. They weren't going to sign over there. We're going to do something with them for the meantime. That would have been a great strategy for one championship, but I hear money's a problem, so you never know. You never know. Maybe it's not, and I don't know. Maybe I heard the wrong things, but you never know. It's this week's wins, bitch, because we cashed another parlay. Now, the UFC high parlay did not cash because Angela Hill did not pan out, but Andre Feely did. So I hope you guys took him as a single and cashed. I hope you guys took his takedown props like I told you, because those cashed as well. His 3 takedowns was plus 1,400. You'll love to see it. Yes, it cashed. You'll love to see it. But also, I gave this parlay out. Uros Medic, Gene Matsumoto, Anthony Hernandez. And guess what, bitch? It cashed. Yes, it cashed. It cashed rather easily. A little sweaty on the Matsumoto front, but it was easy, baby. I got it at plus 129 on FanDuel. I got it at plus 133 on DraftKings, and we cashed them both. You see the green checks. You see the green one. You know what the fuck happened. We got it done, baby. And that's why I just wanted to go to a quick little portion, just a quick little sample size of this week's wins. It's not dead. When we get a green check, it comes back. It comes back to the program. Okay. It's nothing big though. We're not doing a whole segment going through every single win like we used to. But hey, if the parlay hits, we must acknowledge it. And that's what this week's wins is for. So shout out to another big win. Shout out to us getting back on track. We can finally get the green check train going again. Let's get another one this week at UFC 319. I should have a fire parlay going for us. It should be pretty easy to make one depending on how the odds are. Hopefully they don't screw us too much on these fucking odds because these odds get crazy sometimes. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And that's it for the normal portion of the show. Now let's talk about the future, shall we? Let's talk about the future. Picks on UFC 319. I got a few names for your ass. Okay. Now, I'm not going to pick between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. But if history has told me anything, and signs have told me anything, it's that sometimes an unstoppable force just comes and goes straight to the title, and it is what it is. And this could be one of those situations where it is what it is. So I'm not saying that he will be in my parlays, but I have a lot of confidence in Khamzat Chimaev with the things I've been hearing, the people he's been training with, the lore from him before all this. The only thing we have against him is the time off. Really, the finish of Robert Whittaker looked fantastic. Renner de Ritter couldn't do that to Robert Whittaker. Renner de Ritter almost got finished by Robert Whittaker. So Khamzat Chimaev is looking good for me. Lerone Murphy's looking good against Aaron Pico. Now, the reason I say this is because I want you guys to keep in mind that every single PFL Bellator fighter that's come over is almost, well, not every single. All right, I'm embellishing, but a majority of these PFL and Bellator fighters that come over to the UFC lose their first fight. They do. Michael Chandler was one of the lucky ones to beat Dan Hooker. He really was. But most of the time, they lose their fight. Ill Will Brooks, Eddie Alvarez, Patricio Pitbull. Fuck, I'm blanking on a couple other guys. But you get the point. I feel like Lerone Murphy's going to be too in and out, too quick. Keep in mind, Lerone Murphy's undefeated, by the way. So this is a tall order for Aaron Pico as his first fight in the UFC. But wait, am I tripping? Did Lerone Murphy just lose? But I think he's undefeated, right? Am I tripping? Yeah, he's undefeated, 16-0-1 with a 1 draw. Beat Josh Emmett. So that's a real tough order for Aaron Pico. I like Lerone Murphy. Also, Carlos Pradas coming off a loss to Ian Machado Gary. He's going to be looking to serve up a hot, steamy L to Jeff Neal. And Jeff Neal, always willing to welcome a firefight. That's not the fight you want, my boy. Jeff Neal's going to have to fight smart if he doesn't want to get finished by Carlos Pradas. And I don't think he will. Carlos Pradas is going to walk away with a TKO or a handy decision win, where he hurts Jeff Neal multiple times. We always see Jeff Neal go up against these tough welterweights, these tough up-and-coming welterweights, and he comes up short every single time. Don't fall in the Jeff Neal trap if you like them odds. I know he's solid, but Carlos Pradas is a beast, man. Fighting nerds, don't forget. Fighting nerds. And I like Jared Cannonier to beat Michael Venom Page. I know Michael Venom Page this, Michael Venom Page that. Jared Cannonier is old. They're not that far apart in age, people. Keep that in mind. Also, keep it in mind that Jared Cannonier is a very big man that's fought up to heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight. He's held a lot of weight classes. He's got a big frame. He's taking Michael Venom Page, who's notoriously skinny, for even welterweight. And you think he's going to beat Jared Cannonier in just a striking fight? You think Jared Cannonier's not going to mix in his MMA and use his size to his advantage and put Michael Venom Page up against the cage and knee him and elbow him and take him down and use his size against him? What the fuck are you thinking? Jared Cannonier, all day. I love Michael Venom Page, but I got to go with the middleweight, the natural middleweight, the bigger guy, the guy that's looked great recently. And Michael Venom Page didn't look as great against Char Bullet than Marc-Andre Barriault looked against Char Bullet. I just got to say. And Lupi Godinez to wrestle and absolutely wrestle Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade's weakness is grappling. This is a no-brainer for me. Lupi Godinez decision. And then Brian Battle, I feel like he could get a win over Nursultan Ruzibov. We've seen him lose before. Brian Battle is a solid striker. He's got a good MMA game, a modern MMA fighter, so I think he could get a win as well. So I like all those names on UFC 319. I'll probably be making a parlay with most of those names. As for PFL 9, don't forget PFL 9 is going to be happening too. All right? Don't sleep on it. We got the finals for some of these guys. We have Gadzi Rabadanov taking on Alfie Davis. You know we're going to Gadzi Rabadanov. We just seen Mavlik Kabalayev do his thing last week. I expect another finish to happen. Gadzi Rabadanov by finish. Look for him to beat Alfie Davis. If Alfie Davis starts pop locking, doing some fucking stupid ass dances in there against Gadzi Rabadanov, look for him to get finished directly less than 2 minutes after he does all that popping and locking. Okay, Gadzi Rabadanov is a motherfucker, and not in a bad way. He's coming to take your fucking lunch, take that belt, go home, and fucking hang out with Khabib and talk about fucking war stories in the octagon and in the cage. Because these guys are the cream of the crop. Team Abdulmanap. Don't go against them. Liz Carmouche, I expect her to beat Jenna Bishop. I don't even know how Jenna Bishop got here, if I'm being honest. Liz Carmouche for the dubber. All day. We never go against Liz. Justin Wetzel, I think, could beat Marcelo Alvarez. I think Justin Wetzel is just too big, too much of a gas tank. And his grappling heavy style is just conducive to him winning a fight. If you can't get anything done off your back, it's impossible to win a fight against him. He's going to be all over you. So I got to go with Justin Wetzel. I like Mads Burnell in a very similar style to Justin Wetzel. I like him getting a decision win. And you know I'm going with my Haitian, Conley St. Louis. Conley St. Louis. Don't forget St. Louis. Put the money on St. Louis. Haitians in the house. Let's go, baby. You already know. You already freaking know. We got some boxing picks for you. Yes, the girl card. Mizuki Hiruta taking on Naomi Cardenas Gomez. I got you. I got you some picks on it. I got the Hiruta decision. Neither girl has power. They're pretty small. Hiruta's more experienced, and she already is the champion. I expect her to stay the champion. I expect her to land the better strikes and be the better boxer here. Hiruta to get the win. Decision. I also like Trinidad to get the decision over Parra. Parra's 46. He's old. He loses all the time by decision. Now, he's fought some pretty decent guys, so I don't expect him to get KO'd, but at 46, a KO is possible. All the money should be on Trinidad. No money should be on Parra. That's what I'm telling you right now. Please don't put any money on Parra. And then Medina decision, because she's undefeated and her opponent is 5-2. Though she has never been KO'd. So I expect this to go to decision as well. And I think Medina can get an easy decision win, maybe 100-90. Okay. And that's it for that boxing card. And my last picks that I got for you guys is the other boxing card before I get out of here. Nick Ball, Sam Goodman. And boy, do I got some picks for you. We got some upsets coming. Some champs are getting dethroned. Okay. That's what this night is. Okay. Goodman decision. Sam Goodman to beat Nick Ball. I know you like Nick Ball. I know you respect what he's done. Sam Goodman, undefeated. He's taller. He's longer. He's quicker. Ball's going to have a hard time getting into the pocket and landing meaningful strikes because Goodman's jab is just going to be working so well all night. I'm telling you, Goodman decision is very much on the table. I don't see either guy getting a finish. I like a Goodman unanimous decision. Also in the co-main, I like Raymond Ford to beat Anthony Kakachi. I like Raymond Ford. He's 26 years old. Kakachi's 36 years old. He's 10 years the elder. He got a TKO win in his last fight, I believe, against Lee Wood. But I mean, Lee Wood has been in so many wars at this point. You know, all you had to do is get touched nicely once. So I feel like this young 26-year-old is coming to take everything that he's working for. He lost the ball by split decision years ago. So this would be a setup fight for whoever wins in the main event, whether it's Ball or Goodman, or maybe the Ball fight would be a stepping stone fight to fight Goodman if Goodman won the fight. All I'm saying is Ford is being set up to win, I believe, and a Ford decision is very much in play. I just want to keep in mind that Kakachi's 36 and getting older. And then Dillian White and Moses Atoma. I like that this fight doesn't go the distance. I like either guy to get the KO. White, very experienced, has fought way better competition. But Atoma's got that fucking power and that one punch and that youth, man. It's a problem. And is White too over the hill now? So that's my bet for fight is that fight does not go the distance. I like the unders in that fight. Either way it goes. And I like it's either a Adelaide KO rounds 1 through 6 or a Urgovich decision. Because Urgovich has fought a lot of good guys. Man. I just have a hard time seeing him getting knocked out by this guy. So I feel like he's going to get a decision win. I like that. And that's it. Those are my boxing picks. Those are all my picks for MMA and boxing this week. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I hope you make some money if you decide to take any of them. Slito says, I can't stay away from DDP at dog odds. I can't help myself. Going big on Proudest too. Line dependent. Yeah. I'm definitely going to have some money on DDP at plus money. You have to. Plus what? Come on. You have to. DDP plus money is calling my name. You know it is. But yeah, that's it for me, boys. That's it. That was a quick show. Again, we're trying to get to 550, so please like, subscribe, scan the QR code below. We're trying to get bigger around here. I think we're like 530. Come on. Get them burners going. Let's make some money. We got a green check on the board. Stop being a bitch. All right. Don't forget to follow on social. That's where we put out the parlays and stuff. You already know what it is. Sponsors, hit me up. It is what it is. It's gonna be too late, and you'll be like, "Hey, we'd like to sponsor you." I'm like, where was you a few months ago when I was literally putting up a lower sponsors? You wasn't in the email. Hey, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I'm getting out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy your Monday. Have a great week, everyone. Let's enjoy some MMA. We got PFL 9. We got UFC 319. We got boxing. It's going to be a fun combat sports weekend. We got a jam-packed slate. So I hope to see you guys Tuesday for Dana White's Contender Series with Luke. Again, scan the QR code below. Become a fan of either channel. Yeah. See you guys Tuesday. And then if I don't see you Tuesday, I'll see you Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we get another motherfucking fight week going and make some more money. I'm getting the fuck up out of here. Enjoy. Peace.